Casting your minds back just a few years, and if anyone asked for advice as to what wheels to get for road cycling, often people would say Zipp. And also riders were under the impression that you needed to spend an awful lot of money to get the best performance. All of a sudden, riders are questioning whether you need to spend thousands of pounds to get that performance, when there's so many good wheels out there for less than £1,000. But now Zipp is ready to fire back with these, the new 303S, the brand's first ever carbon wheel to drop below that magic £1,000 mark. Now, before we go any further, this isn't a full review of the new 303S. This is merely just a first look at them. The 303S is effectively a complete update to the existing 302 wheel set. A wheel that itself broke boundaries for Zipp in that its lower price brought Zipp to a whole new audience of cyclists. Like the 302, the 303S is aimed more at the endurance end of the market and gravel riding as well. This isn't just an outdated older design that Zipp has rehashed to open up the market. No, this is 100% brand new, completely redesigned rim specifically for the 303S. In fact, comparing it to the 302 is actually pretty difficult. Yes, both wheels share the same 76 and 176 hub set, a hub set that we rate ourselves for its simple maintenance and simple standardized construction. And yes, the rear wheel sticks to a 24 spoke 2-cross pattern, but apart from that, everything else is completely different. Whereas the 302 was designed for both rim brake and disc brake, the 303S is disc brake only. Now this has actually allowed Zipp to free up the rim design to make it all about performance without compromise. Without needing to consider the rim as a braking surface, it's meant that it's able to actually focus on the junction between tyre and rim itself, an area that's actually really important when it comes to the aerodynamics of a wheel. It's basically taken away the normal hook you'd find within the rim itself. Now, this isn't a specific thing to Zipp, loads of brands have done this before, but doing this has allowed it to actually make a much better contact between tyre and rim, effectively smoothing out the profile of the tyre itself, making it potentially more aerodynamic. By removing that internal hook has actually allowed Zipp to increase the internal width of the rim as well, something that is very much on trend. The 302 has an internal width of 16.25 millimeters, something that we've measured ourselves, whereas this new one is nearly 7 millimeters wider. This is 23 millimeters internal width. Zipp has managed to increase this internal width without too much impact on the external measurements. So whereas the 302 was a 25 millimeter external width, this is only a 27 millimeters. This new rim is also designed around the recent growth in tyre widths. So something that we've seen that's bang on trend at the moment is bigger tyre volumes. And so this extra internal width makes it ideal for use with a 28 millimeter tyre. And actually it's something that Zipp has optimized this wheel to use. With the increase in internal rim width, Zipp has been able to ensure that the profile of a 28 millimeter tyre is pretty much optimum from an aerodynamic standpoint. And it's trying to avoid what happens when you get a narrow rim and a wider tyre, which is what Zipp called the light bulb effect, where the tyre will bulge outside of the rim profile and causing aerodynamic deficiencies. The 303S has also been designed to be run as a tubeless setup first and foremost. You can obviously at a pinch use a tube, and Zipp say that if you get a puncture outside, then yes, you can use a tube, but it's not recommended. The rim itself has only got a maximum tyre pressure of 73 psi, which shows that it is pretty much focused solely on tubeless setups. This new wheel set weighs in at 1,555 grams for both front and rear, 100 grams lighter than the existing 302. Now bear in mind that it uses the same hubs and the same spokes. In fact, the front wheel has more spokes than the original 302. That's pretty impressive. So that's nearly 100 grams in weight saving just on the rim alone. What's really interesting is this new 303S weighs the same as the existing 303 Firecrest disc tubeless. So that's a wheel set that costs way more than this itself. So that's pretty impressive there as well. In order to get the weight savings of this amount, Zipp has actually looked a lot at how it developed its mountain bike wheels. So last year it developed a set of wheels called the 30 Moto, and from that development it actually looked a lot at weight and strength ratios and was able to pare away the material required to create a wheel that's incredibly strong but still very, very light. Now obviously we've been mentioning the price for this wheel set and saying it's coming under that magic £1,000 marker. Well, how much does it come under it by? Well, obviously it's not a huge amount, it's £985. And how has it been able to do that? Well, this is the first rim that has been made outside of the USA. So up until now, every single one of Zipp's carbon rims is manufactured in its facilities at Speedway in Indiana, but this 303S is the first one manufactured in the Far East, so in Taiwan. And it's not made in just a generic factory though, it is made in Zipp's own factory, so they can control all of the process on the development, the construction and the assembly. So the entire wheel is then assembled there. A couple of the specifications about the wheels as well to go with it. So these are center lock rotors that you have on this setup. It comes with the lock rings, obviously. There's 24 spokes front and rear in a 2-cross pattern, and these are aero spokes as well. And they've got external nipples, so it's really, really simple to actually maintain these wheels. It's available with both a Shimano or a SRAM XD driver, so that's what you would need for running 12 speeds. And it's a through axle front and rear, but the great thing is, again, these are just pop-off caps, so you can just pop those off and it's really simple to actually maintain or change axles if you so require. I've been fortunate to be putting a little bit of time testing a set of these new 303S wheels on my gravel bike, and as soon as restrictions are lifted, I'll be putting a lot more mileage on them on the road bike as well. And as soon as that is done, hopefully we can come back to you with a full and detailed review as to what we really think of the new Zipp 303S. But until then, we'll see you soon.